What if I told you that winning could become as natural to you as breathing? That you could develop a consciousness so aligned with victory that success flows to you effortlessly, continuously, and inevitably? What if every contest you entered, every opportunity you pursued, every goal you set became not a matter of hope, but a certainty of divine demonstration? You are about to discover the consciousness that transforms losing into inevitable winning. There exists a state of mind so aligned with universal law that success becomes as natural as breathing, as certain as sunrise, as effortless as gravity pulling water downhill. When you master this consciousness, you stop trying to win and start being the person who wins naturally, magnetically, and continuously. The difference between winners and losers has nothing to do with luck, timing, or favoritism from cosmic forces. Winners understand spiritual law, while losers fight against it. Winners align their consciousness with divine abundance, while losers operate from scarcity, thinking that repels the very blessings they seek. The universe responds to your internal state, not your external efforts. Winning consciousness operates through divine partnership rather than human struggle. When you try to force outcomes through desperation and effort, you create resistance that blocks natural flow. But when you embody the state of already having received, divine intelligence mobilizes all resources to manifest what your consciousness claims as already yours. The secret lies in understanding that the universe operates as a cosmic echo, returning to you amplified versions of whatever consciousness you consistently broadcast. Broadcast winning consciousness, and wins become inevitable. Broadcast losing consciousness, and defeats multiply endlessly. Your external results perfectly mirror your internal state because spiritual law cannot violate its own nature. Scripture reveals this truth when it declares, "According to your faith, be it unto you." Divine intelligence responds to the faith you actually carry, rather than the faith you claim to possess. When your consciousness genuinely embodies having received, manifestation becomes inevitable because the universe must reflect the consciousness you consistently maintain. This principle transcends positive thinking or wishful hoping. True winning consciousness operates as unshakable knowing that your desires are already accomplished in spiritual reality and await physical expression. You cease asking for what you want and begin claiming what you know belongs to you by divine right. Winning consciousness requires eliminating the word try from your vocabulary and your thinking. Trying implies uncertainty, struggle, and possible failure. Claiming implies certainty, ease, and inevitable success. When you try to win, you broadcast doubt that creates resistance to manifestation. When you claim victory, you broadcast faith that accelerates divine demonstration. A remarkable woman named Helene Hadsell proved this principle by winning over 4,000 contests during her lifetime. Her victories included everything from small household items to luxury vacations to a fully furnished dream home worth $50,000. She entered contests not hoping to win, but knowing she had already won. This consciousness shift transformed her from occasional lucky winner into inevitable champion. Helene understood that contests are won in consciousness before they are won in physical reality. She would select her desired prize, then experience possessing it so completely that winning became merely physical confirmation of spiritual fact. Her method demonstrates that when consciousness aligns perfectly with desired outcomes, the universe has no choice but to deliver corresponding results. Align with this divine principle and declare with absolute conviction, "I embody winning consciousness, and the universe responds to my unshakable knowing with inevitable demonstrations of victory." Helene's extraordinary success flowed from a specific spiritual method that aligned her consciousness with universal law. She discovered that manifestation operates through 4 distinct phases, each one building upon the last to create inevitable demonstration. This method, which she called SPEC, selection, projection, expectation, collection, reveals how consciousness creates victory in the invisible realm before physical reality confirms what spiritual law has already established. Understanding and applying these 4 phases transforms hoping into knowing and makes winning your natural state. Selection requires moving beyond limitation thinking that asks, "What can I realistically expect?" toward abundance thinking that asks, "What would bring me genuine joy?" and serve my highest evolution. The universe contains unlimited supply of everything you could desire, and your only limitation is the consciousness you bring to the claiming process. True selection operates through divine guidance rather than human logic. You choose what feels aligned with your soul's expansion rather than what your mind calculates as achievable. When desires arise from divine connection, they carry the power of universal backing that ensures manifestation regardless of apparent obstacles or impossibilities. Selection must be specific rather than vague because precision gives divine intelligence clear instructions for manifestation. Instead of hoping for something good or whatever would be best, you specify exactly what would create joy, freedom, and fulfillment in your experience. Clarity creates focus that concentrates cosmic forces toward precise outcomes. Once selection is complete, you must project ownership with such intensity that imagination becomes more real than physical circumstances. This projection involves experiencing your desires as present possessions through all 5 senses, an emotional engagement that convinces your subconscious mind that manifestation has already occurred. Projection differs completely from daydreaming because it operates with the conviction of memory rather than the wishfulness of fantasy. You remember having received rather than hope to receive. This consciousness shift creates the vibrational frequency that attracts corresponding physical demonstration. Because like attracts like in the realm of consciousness. The projection process requires detailed sensory engagement that makes imagined experiences feel completely real. You see colors, hear sounds, feel textures, taste flavors, and smell aromas associated with possessing your desires. This multisensory involvement convinces your nervous system that manifestation has occurred, creating the internal state that magnetizes external confirmation. Muhammad Ali exemplified this principle throughout his boxing career. Long before becoming heavyweight champion, he would spend hours experiencing himself as the greatest through vivid mental rehearsals. He saw himself defeating opponents, heard crowds chanting his name, and felt championship belts around his waist. His famous declarations of greatness were spoken from consciousness that had already experienced victory so completely that physical matches became mere confirmations of spiritual fact. Ali's approach demonstrates that creation begins in consciousness and extends into physical form, rather than starting with physical efforts and hoping for inspiration. His mental projections became blueprints that guided his training and strategy because he experienced completion before beginning the building process. This is where I invite you to activate your own winning consciousness through declaration. In the comments below, write these words: "Winning is my natural state." When you make this statement, you align your consciousness with spiritual principles that operate independently of human circumstances or limitations. Your written declaration creates accountability while strengthening your faith in inevitable success. Expectation represents the consciousness of quiet certainty that never doubts divine timing or divine methods, while maintaining absolute faith in divine outcomes. True expectation contains no anxiety about whether manifestation will occur because it operates as natural law that functions regardless of emotional states or mental activity. Expectation differs from anticipation because it eliminates emotional charge around outcomes. You expect your desires to manifest with the same certainty that you expect gravity to function, as reliable law that operates continuously whether you think about it or not. This calm assurance creates the mental environment that supports smooth manifestation without resistance or interference. Developing expectation requires treating your desires as items already purchased that await delivery, rather than wishes that might be granted through cosmic generosity. When you order something online, you expect delivery without constantly checking shipping status or worrying about possible cancellation. This same consciousness applied to spiritual manifestation creates the expectation that accelerates divine demonstration. Biblical wisdom supports this principle through the story of Abraham, who expected God's promise of countless descendants despite being nearly 100 years old with no children. His expectation operated as unshakable faith that maintained confidence in divine promise regardless of physical impossibility. This consciousness attracted miraculous fulfillment that established his lineage for generations. Abraham's example reveals that expectation based on divine promise supersedes expectation based on physical circumstances. When your consciousness aligns with spiritual truth, physical limitations become irrelevant because divine intelligence possesses unlimited power to rearrange circumstances according to spiritual law. Expectation must be accompanied by preparation that demonstrates faith in inevitable manifestation. You prepare space for desired items, research information about expected experiences, and make arrangements that assume success rather than hoping for the best while preparing for disappointment. Preparation serves multiple purposes in the manifestation process. It demonstrates faith that strengthens your consciousness while creating practical readiness that supports smooth transition when desires appear. Preparation also maintains focus on successful outcomes rather than allowing attention to drift toward doubt or distraction. Collection represents receiving manifestations with grateful recognition rather than shocked surprise. When desires appear in physical form, you accept them as expected delivery rather than miraculous intervention that violates natural law. This consciousness maintains the winning frequency that continues attracting additional victories. Grateful collection acknowledges divine intelligence as the source of all good, while recognizing your consciousness as the channel through which blessings flow. This balance maintains humility that keeps your ego from interfering with continued manifestation, while claiming the power that enables conscious creation. The collection phase requires releasing attachment to specific timing, while maintaining faith in inevitable outcomes. Divine intelligence coordinates countless variables to ensure perfect timing that serves everyone involved, rather than delivering according to human schedules that consider only personal preferences. Collection consciousness eliminates surprise that interrupts manifestation flow by treating success as normal rather than exceptional. When winning becomes your natural state, you receive victories as confirmation of spiritual law rather than lucky accidents that might never happen again. Serena Williams demonstrates collection consciousness through her approach to tennis championships. Rather than celebrating individual victories as extraordinary achievements, she treated them as natural results of champion consciousness consistently maintained. This mindset produced 23 Grand Slam titles because she operated from the expectation of winning rather than the hope of getting lucky. Williams' consistent success over her career proves that when consciousness aligns with universal principles, positive results become inevitable rather than accidental. Her approach demonstrates that sustained winning requires maintaining equilibrium that treats success as normal rather than exceptional. Stand in this truth of inevitable success and proclaim, "I receive my divine inheritance with grateful heart, and abundance flows to me as naturally as rivers flow to the sea." Winning consciousness requires eliminating failure from your mental vocabulary because divine intelligence recognizes only success and delay. What appears as failure represents redirection toward better opportunities rather than evidence of inadequate worth or cosmic rejection. When apparent setbacks occur, winning consciousness interprets them as divine guidance that protects you from settling for less than your highest good. Closed doors redirect you toward open ones that lead to greater fulfillment. Delayed manifestations ensure perfect timing that coordinates all variables for maximum benefit. This reframing transforms disappointment into expectancy, because you recognize that divine intelligence always works for your highest good, even when immediate appearances suggest otherwise. Your consciousness maintains winning frequency by seeing divine order operating through all experiences, rather than judging some as good and others as bad. Elimination of failure consciousness requires understanding that you are divinely destined for success, because your joy serves universal expansion. Divine intelligence desires your happiness because your fulfillment contributes to cosmic celebration. Your victories glorify divine power rather than inflating human ego when approached with proper consciousness. Winning consciousness also demands cultivating unconditional love that recognizes divine presence in all people and circumstances. This universal love creates the vibrational frequency that attracts constant blessing because it aligns with divine nature that loves all creation equally and abundantly. Universal love eliminates competition consciousness that sees others' success as threat to your own supply. When you genuinely celebrate others' victories, you align with abundance consciousness that creates victories in your own experience. The universe contains unlimited good for everyone, and others' success proves that good is available rather than scarce. Practicing unconditional love requires seeing divine intelligence operating through every person you encounter, rather than judging worthiness based on behavior or circumstances. This expanded vision maintains spiritual connection that keeps your consciousness aligned with divine frequency, regardless of external appearances. The consciousness that wins consistently operates through complete faith in divine timing that coordinates infinite variables across multiple dimensions to create perfect outcomes for all involved. This trust eliminates anxiety that blocks manifestation by creating resistance to cosmic flow. Patient faith demonstrates confidence in divine perfection rather than human control. You maintain expectant awareness while allowing cosmic wisdom to complete its work without interference from demanding or doubt. This surrender creates the space for divine intelligence to operate with maximum efficiency and minimum resistance. When you embody winning consciousness through authentic selection, vivid projection, quiet expectation, and grateful collection, all within the context of unconditional love and unwavering faith, success becomes inevitable because you operate according to spiritual law rather than human limitation. Your consciousness becomes a magnet for opportunities, resources, and favorable circumstances because you broadcast the frequency that attracts winning rather than losing. The universe has no choice but to respond to consistently maintained winning consciousness with continuous demonstrations of victory. This consciousness transforms you from someone who occasionally wins into someone who continuously wins because success becomes your natural state rather than exceptional achievement. You stop trying to get lucky and start being the person that luck finds effortlessly and repeatedly. The universe awaits your decision to embody winning consciousness that claims victory as natural inheritance rather than hoping for lucky breaks that might never come. Your 4,000 victories begin the moment you align your consciousness with divine law that makes winning inevitable for those who understand spiritual principles. Select with divine guidance, project with complete faith, expect with quiet certainty, collect with grateful heart. Your winning streak starts now and continues for as long as you maintain the consciousness that makes victory inevitable, because you have aligned with divine law that never fails.